Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here and we are back with your Fulham versus Leeds United preview. Unfamiliar circumstances, as I'm sure you can see. We're back here, we're home. We're home in sunny Yorkshire, which is always very, very nice. Although sunshine really isn't out, it's nice to big Yorkshire up, but really it's just raining every time I come back. So you Leeds fans who are abroad are not missing out on anything when it comes to Yorkshire weather, but hopefully that's going to improve. Hopefully that's going to improve a little bit in unison with Leeds United's form, which drastically needs to improve, everybody. Leeds take on Fulham tomorrow. Team news, you're expecting Verba hopefully to be back. Listen, if Max Verba is on the bench, I expect him to be fit and ready to play for Leeds United. The exact same with Willian Yonto. I am maybe a little bit more dubious as to whether or not Willian Yonto has this injury that has kept him out. Maybe that's me being a little bit curious and a little bit hypothetical about the scenario. Hopefully I'm wrong and it is just down to an injury, but yeah, I do feel that maybe a little bit more has gone on there, moving between Willie and Gracia. But he has to get his best players into the starting 11 for the remaining games. I was having a look at the fixtures earlier on today. When you look at Leicester, when you look at Everton, probably the two competitors that are going to rival Leeds United for that last relegation spot. Leicester have got a very favourable next 3 to 4 games. Obviously, I've mentioned prior that I don't believe that Dean Smith is going to pull up any trees. I don't think that there is going to be a tactical master plan by the ex-Aston Villa man. But what I do expect is a little bit of man management, which, as Neil Warnock has said before, is 90% of the job. We know that it isn't 90% of the job. It has worked for Neil Warnock in abundance, and that's why I used him as an example, because the other week on Radio Leeds, he was saying that he believes now that, especially with young footballers and how fragile they can be mentally, that man management is perfect, and to just big them up at this point in the season is absolutely ideal when it comes to relegation, and can be absolutely pivotal as well when it is coming to promotion and winning leagues and all that good stuff. So yeah, I fully expect Dean Smith to come in and bring a little bit of camaraderie there. They played Man City. I was doing a little bit for the game. I don't think Leicester looked too bad, to be honest. I thought they held their own. They've still got very decent players in there. You forget that this is a squad that was assembled off the back of winning the Premier League, off the back of winning an FA Cup. So there are still players in there who, don't get me wrong, will be looking for moves this summer, but it'll be still advantageous for those players to keep Leicester in the Premier League in the long term. So looking at Harvey Barnes, been out this weekend for Leicester. We're having to look at other teams, everybody, because Leeds haven't been able to do it themselves. And now we are relying on other teams to slip up as well, especially with Leeds' last 4 games. So, as I just mentioned there, you look at Leicester City. No Harvey Barnes this weekend, which is pivotal. Tielemans is back. Maddison is going to be fit for this one. Obviously, Daka, Iheanacho, they still have a very decent squad. And as I've mentioned previously, their next 4 games, you've got Everton in there, you've got Wolves at home this weekend, Leeds United, of course. There is a conversation now that needs to be had where Leicester could be out of it very, very quickly. Another team that is also in the midst of it is still Everton. We know that. They've got a big game against Crystal Palace this weekend. A winnable game, though, against Crystal Palace, even though they've been revitalised under Roy Hodgson. Everton's form away from home is absolutely tragic, and it is embarrassing, really, when you look at it. But overall, do you expect maybe Dyche to pull something out of the bag there? Not a win, but I'd maybe expect a point. I don't think Crystal Palace's good form is going to go on forever, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. You're hoping Palace can pull something out the bag, because I think they're clear now when it comes to relegation. It really is 5 teams, in my opinion, who are really in it. But overall, we look at Everton's fixtures again, everybody, and listen, it's not nice me saying this, and Leeds did have that opportunity, and maybe that's where my head's been turned a little bit when it comes to any form of optimism. You forget I had us winning against Forest, I had us winning against Crystal Palace as well, and getting a draw against Liverpool. Mr. Negative over here. So listen, I was very optimistic, with the start of proceedings around about 10 days ago. That has been smashed out of me. But reverting back to my original point, Everton do still have rather winnable games as well. They've got a couple of decent home games still coming up. I believe they've got Wolves still as well, and obviously Crystal Palace. I believe Leicester's in there as well. So yeah, I think is this in Leeds' hands? I guess you have to say it is, because we're still 16th, we're above Everton, we're above Leicester, but no bones about it. We have to get something this weekend. We have to get something. The games are running out, and they're running out for teams below us as well. But I've seen a real weakening of the Leeds United mentality in recent games, as we've seen, 11 goals conceded. Leeds are the pit of every conversation at the minute when it comes to relegation rivals. Every team below us will be looking at Leeds and thinking they can be got at now. They can 100% be got at. You look at Bournemouth, who've still got to go down there. They've won 4 games out of 6, 5 games out of 8. So they're flying high at the minute when it comes to the form table. Leicester, is a game that Leeds have to win. Everyone, it's they're running out, and I'm not going to say teams below us are going to win because I don't believe that. I really don't. I'm not that naive, but I do think they can gather a little bit of momentum. And Leeds, if we continue losing, if we continue to get battered in the vein that we are going to be a target, and we are going to fall down that Premier League table very, very quickly and into that bottom 3 within the next. We could be in the bottom 3 within the next week anyway. The next game week. So, what changes would I make? Max Verber comes in, William Yonso comes in, hopefully Sinisterra is fit, Luke Ayling comes in for Rasmus Christensen 100%, and we see a shake-up in that back line. If Verber isn't fit, you stick Liam Cooper in next to Robin Koch. The reason I would do that is because I will forsake quality at the minute for a little bit of leadership, because that's simply what Leeds United need. We are rudderless, we have a fragile mentality at the minute, and any sort of experience that can come in and aid maybe a Robin Koch, and maybe aid Junior Firpo in terms of just the collective, the defensive structure. That is something I am all for. We need to go to Fulham and we need to win. And we go to Fulham and we win, the complexion changes once again. Talk of relegation is still going to be a conversation because it's still extremely prevalent in my eyes. But I want Leeds to go and prove me wrong. Right here, right now, I think Leeds United are going down. However, if we win this weekend, this is how football changes. If teams in and around us drop points and aren't able to gather the right momentum this weekend, Leeds can be back on that upward trajectory yet again. We need to see a positive performance. We need to see 3 points. If we can't get 3 points, which seems to be a difficult thing for Leeds United at the minute, if we can't do that, then at least get a point. Just do not lose the game, and especially do not lose that game heavily. I do fully expect if Leeds lose this game heavily, it's kaput. I really do believe that. And a lot of you guys might say that's negative and pessimistic, but as I say, I'd like to hark you back to me predicting so many positive results for Leeds in the last month, and how this squad is just not filling me with any confidence at the minute. It's quite staggering to think that, a week and a bit ago, I was in Ellen Road and we were 1-0 up, cruising against Crystal Palace, and ever since we've just completely folded. Wasn't acceptable, that result against Liverpool. Certainly wasn't acceptable, that result against Crystal Palace as well. So here's to hoping for 3 points. Here's to hoping for minimum a point, and Leeds United to be able to get out of this weekend with something, and the teams in and around us also dropping points, because a lot of them are playing each other this weekend. Do we need to look at other teams? We do, because Leeds haven't given themselves that platform to be able to just look at what they do. And let's hope, let's pray results go for Leeds United, and let's hope, let's pray that we can go to a Fulham without Mitrovic and do something. When you're looking at that Fulham side, there's no real focal point. Dan James was really good for them last weekend, was running off the front man really well against Everton, which I never thought I'd say, but they were playing around really nicely, him, Willian and Harry Wilson. I thought that worked quite well. The danger man's always going to be Palhinha, because he is one of the top generals when it comes to midfield players in the division. He will be going to a top 4 club, in my opinion, in the summer. McKennie and Rocker need to step the game up massively. We also need to deal with those transitional moments that Fulham are going to bring. But there is something there for Leeds. We were very good in the cup against Fulham, and we were really, really unlucky. Fate was against us that night. However, we need to go down there, 12:30 kickoff, and win this game. Put Fulham to the sword, who are out of form apart from their last game against Everton. It's been a sinking run for them, which has led into them being completely Mitrovic-less. But keeping Willian quiet, keeping Harry Wilson quiet, keeping Palhinha quiet is absolutely essential. Guys, for this weekend, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Fascinated to hear what you think. I'll see you in a bit.